The work that we'll be doing today will be performed on a 2003 Chevy Silverado 2500 HD Crew Cab Long Bed W/T. In this video, we are going to be changing out the front door speakers of a 2003 Chevy Silverado 2500 HD. This is just going to be a straight OEM factory speaker swap, no upgrades. We're not going to have to make any type of adjustments to the connection that's currently in the door. I'll quickly take out one of the speakers and show you exactly what we're going to be installing. It is exactly what is currently installed in the doors now. So we're just going to take out the old ones and replace them with these. The current ones are no good. One doesn't work at all, and the other one is busted to the point that you wouldn't even want to turn the radio on to hear anything, even if it's just talk radio. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. As always, all of the parts and tools used in this video will be linked in the description box below. We're going to start by disconnecting the negative on the battery before we get into any of the wiring or even taking the door covering off of our door here. All right, so we've got that disconnected, and let's try to examine our door to see where we've got screws and things that we're going to have to back out. I think we've got one here, and there's one down low here. So it looks like there's only two. All right, so this is a 9/32, and this looks like this is going to work for what we're trying to do. Now, obviously, if you've got a drill, you can do this much quicker, but it's only two screws, so all right, so you got one screw out. All right, so you've got both of those out. Let me just quickly show you. So if we look here, you can see that there's one hole here, that one there, and then there's one down low right there. So I believe those are the only two. And so now we're going to go ahead and remove our lock. And we're going to be using our pry tools to get this done. And so the first thing we need to do is pry this off. Got that there. Then we'll slide that off. And we need to pop this out as well. Trying to make sure I've got the finished tools. Pop that out. So we've got this popped out as well. Just remember that you need to line it back up here with our locking mechanism here. And then here we've got another bolt that we need to pull out. This is number 7 in this kit. Got that little short one out of there. Now we also need to pop off this panel right here. And the clips are on the back side here. So now that we've got this popped off, I do want to point out that it does have the two clamps here on the back side, and we've got this piece that kind of fits behind the other piece of plastic here. So that if it's in position here, that it fits in place like this. Just know that when you're putting your tool behind this piece of trim, that you're popping out here where your clips are, and then you're going to just kind of pull it out here just like that. So we've got that off, and we just lift up here, and it looks like this has to be removed as well, huh? All right, so we had to pause things for a second and come up with a makeshift tool to be able to release the clamp that is holding that window crank in place. And it's pretty much impossible for me to show it to you without removing the piece first. So let me get it out of here and then I'll show you what it looks like. If you're fortunate enough to have a vehicle that has crank windows, then you will run into this problem as you are okay. I got it out of there relatively easy, but this is the part that I want to show you. This is the clamp that was holding it in place, and as you can see, it fits around to prevent this from sliding off. So this part moves. You can see that it moves back and forth. It's very difficult to see once it's in place, but just keep in mind that this is going to be back there. So now that we've got this removed, we shouldn't have anything obstructing us from just taking our door off. And there we go. So this is the speaker that we want to remove. Let's take a closer look at it before we go any further. All right, so here is a close-up of what this speaker looks like. If you look closely, you can see that there are no holes in here for screws, and these clamps, you see there's a clamp here, and then there's some what looks like clamps on the bottom. It looks like you should be able to just push this in and pull out to be able to remove that. I'm gonna grab my flathead screwdriver here. I'm gonna push that down. And there we go. And then it just pops out. And so this is what our speaker looks like here. Looks just like the new one. So we're going to just flip it and push this tab in here and disconnect and get this old one out of here. So now we can compare old and new. So these are exactly the same. So this is going to be a plug and play swap out. So go ahead and do that. Plug that in. Now we've got two little clips here on the bottom. We just want to make sure that we set the speaker in just like that. And then we're going to sit that in there and pop it in. And then we'll just double check to make sure that it's secure. And that's it. So we've got one speaker in. So we can go ahead and put everything back together on this door. And we can go ahead and move forward. Let's go ahead and jump to the other side. All right, so now we're on the passenger side. Remember that we've got, all right, so I got it out. So we've got that panel. Let's go ahead and pop it off here. Pop that off. Now this door looks like it's been in, someone's been in it before, but as you can see, we don't have any of that plastic vapor barrier in there at all. In case you're wondering how I did this, I just straightened out a coat hanger and I just bent the end of it just like the shortest amount I could possibly bend, just so I'd have enough to be able to reach back on the underside here and then just pull it back. There you go. It's on the rear side. There you go. So if you want to see what that action is like, on the rear side, we're pushing the plastic in and we're hooking and we're just pulling this out here. I want to make sure I don't drop it, but we're going to just pull that out and that allows it to be released. So we pop that off. And we've got that out. This is going to be the exact same process that we did on the other side. Probably get you in a little bit better angle here to be able to see. So we've got a clamp here on top, and then we've got two clips here on the bottom that fit on the inside of the door. So all we're going to do is push down on this. And I tried to do it before by hand. It's a little bit easier if you've got a screwdriver or something to be able to pry as you're applying pressure to the top. I'm going to see if I can use this pry tool to wedge back behind it. There we go. And then we pull this one away. We'll flip that over. As I mentioned, both of these speakers are completely unworkable. This one is the one that's busted, and the other one was just flat out didn't work at all. So we've got that disconnected. So let's go ahead and reconnect. And we'll hook these back in here. Got that one back in there securely. Now a smart person would go ahead and reconnect that negative on that battery just to double check to make sure everything's connected and everything's working. And so I'm going to pretend like I'm a smart person right now, and I'm going to go ahead and reconnect just to make sure that this is going to work before we put everything back. All right, so I just tested out the speakers and they both work as expected. But what I did realize is that the rear speakers in this truck are also blown. So stay tuned for part 2 of the speaker change out. As always, all of the parts and tools used in this video will be linked in the description box below. Hopefully you all enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Stay tuned for part 2, where we're going to replace the speakers in the rear doors of this vehicle. See you on the next one.